Hey guys, welcome back to Blended the Podcast. I'm Destiny.
I'm Sierra.
We have a guest with us today, Angelica Pompy. She is the founder and the lead photographer of Pompey Portraits. Not only is she an amazing photographer, but she is your favorite hype girl when it comes to all things business, photography, and self-love. We can't wait for her to share how you can let your personality shine in social media and how that can set you apart in an industry that might be a little bit oversaturated.
So Angelica, do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into having a photography business and owning your own studio?
Absolutely. As they mentioned, my name is Angelica. I'm honored to be here on the podcast. So thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for coming.
And yes, my journey, it started honestly when I was in high school. I'm from Jacksonville and my career started at Katie Studios. So our local high school senior portrait photography. And I was always like into it growing up. My mom was a camcorder lady and I was the lady with the child with the camera, and I had, I don't know how old y'all are, but the film, like the little thing you go do, like Kodak, and you only have like 20 like little, takes. So I was that child walking around the theme parks and life events. So I always kind of grew up into photography, but I didn't take it into high gear until high school. And then in high school, I did senior portrait photography for 4 years. And then I went to UNF. I stayed locally. All my friends went to college away. And I was like, I want to go away too. But I got a great scholarship at UNF. And I actually studied health administration. Oh. So my degree is in health administration. But I always had like photography in my back pocket. And there's always been a part of me that was like, I can do this as a business one day. But there was always those little birdies in the background, like, oh, this is like not truly a career, stick to something that you know. And growing up in my culture is like everyone works in healthcare. So either healthcare or caregiving. So I'm like, I guess healthcare it is. I knew I didn't want to be a nurse going to school because I was like, science ain't my jam. When I went to that biology class, I was like, oh, baby, get me out. What else can I do in healthcare? Because that wasn't it. But I did pick up a minor in photography. And as I was doing that, I learned a lot about like the history of art and things like that. But the skill set of my photography really stemmed from YouTube University.
I love that.
For free 99. Granted, it took me way longer than it probably should have because I was doing it the cost-effective route. I just learned what I could, and I did portraiture for people at college, graduation pictures. I did everything under the sun. And then most recently, I just niched down to boudoir and maternity photography. So
I love that. I love how like us and many of our guests, they are in these successful businesses. That's not what their original plan was. Even if like deep down it was a passion and like something that we wanted to do, like it's just so inspiring to see how you don't have to have it figured out from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And you should follow your passions. I think we like same thing. Like you're like, oh, you hear this isn't a real job. But then you're like, it's even more satisfying when you do become the successful business owner that you are.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I did that.
Yeah, you did that. It's like, you are my inspiration.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
When I first met you, it's crazy because like I was in the hair and makeup world. And we were both at, I think, a bridal expo. And it was like the first time I ever met you. And you came with like such amazing, good, happy vibe energy. And like you could just tell like it radiated through you that like you really cared about the experience. Not only just with like the people who were signing up to be future clients, but like literally everyone who walked into your like area at all. Yeah. Like that's the experience you gave. Yeah.
And that's like something I'm really big on is like showing your personality like through your social media, because so many times people are like, Angelica, you're just so fun and I just want to shoot with you. I'm like, well, have you seen my work? They're like, no, but you're just amazing. I'm like, oh shit, okay, that's fine. Like, yeah, let's do it. So my personality obviously attracts people that want to work with me, which I'm very grateful for because my clients are my people, man. I always be like, y'all, let's be friends. You're fun. I had a client earlier like this week. I was like, oh, we're going to get cocktails after this because you're a fun bitch. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's so important because like there's photographers everywhere. So it's like, what sets you apart? What do you have to offer to your clients? We've been having in-depth conversations about that. Like, why do people come to you? And I think it's social media can be such an amazing asset to your business because people can get to know you before they come into your studio. So they trust you more. Yeah. They're more comfortable when they come in. It's not just like yellow booking a local photographer and then booking and not knowing what to expect.
Absolutely.
And she genuinely is like that. Like on her social media, like what you see is what you get. Like from the day I met you, girl, you have been the same person. Yeah. Obviously you've grown in your career and everything like that. And that's amazing. But like truly to the core of who you are, it shines through. Even like on your stories, you mentioned how your hair and makeup like team was inside getting a girl ready. I think this is like a couple days ago. And you're like, I like to walk outside and now I'm starting on this and I'm posting on my story because this is the me time that I get. And I was like, a lot of people don't show that part. Yeah. But it was really cool that I even got to see that.
Yeah. And I'm like big on relationship. Like every person that steps foot in our studio, it's like, we want to bond with them. That's why I don't have one person doing hair, one person doing makeup. That's rushed to me. And I feel like that doesn't give the client the like, relaxation experience. And like, not only is she my client, but she's my team's client. So my hair and makeup is important. Like my wardrobe, all the things that I have included in the experience, like everybody has a touch point and it's so valuable to have that relationship with them. And I'm just grateful to provide that experience. It's very rare to hear that kind of photography experience, especially in our local area in North Florida. So I'm honored to do that. And because of that experience, people want that. I'm booking out like 2 or 3 months in advance.
That's amazing.
And it's like you said, experience. It's not a service. It's an experience. And I feel like so many people look at these service-based industries who are charging luxury prices, and you can't just charge luxury prices. You have to back it. But it's not just how good you are at photography. It's again, the experience that you're creating. When someone looks at that, because they know you, they know that when they go there, they're going to feel good. They're not going to even question how much you're charging them, because it's worth it, because you've showed that. Yeah. I know I really struggle, and a lot of our listeners do as well, with just the consistency of social media, not just showing up authentically. Do a really good job of like constantly showing up and being there. What's your advice with that?
Man, I get this asked a lot. And honestly, when I find myself scrolling more than 10 minutes, I literally stop and think to myself, the amount of energy I'm giving to somebody else's posts and like and comment, why am I not putting that energy into my business?
I love that.
Because no one else is going to be a cheerleader for you. I think we get so stuck on like being like curated. I literally show up however the F I want.
Okay, literally. Can I just say, I saw you show up the other day and you had like a messy bun, no makeup, you weren't wearing your glasses. And I had, like you came to my studio like that and we were like chilling, hanging out. And I was like, this is the same vibe. And she just turned the camera on and I was like, I want that level of confidence. Like genuinely I do. Yeah. And I loved that you showed up like that. And I was like, why don't I do that?
Yeah. I literally, that was me yesterday. Like I was like glammed up to the tees because I knew it was going to create content, all these things. And then I honestly forgot I had makeup on. So at my shoot last night, I'm like, oh my God, eyeliner. I had cocoon eyes. I was like, hold on, y'all. I got to wipe this off. And I still showed up after the fact. Like, you know, it's reality. And I think that's what people resonate with the most. Is like,
and I did.
You know, I am that. Yeah. When I'm not working, showing up, like perfectionism will hold you back from so many opportunities.
100%.
And
can we put that on like, we need a shirt. We need a shirt. That's just
not
remind
even,
each other.
We need like an alarm button that like, stop it.
And honestly, a lot of self-discipline. Like literally, like I said, the amount of energy you put into everybody else's stuff, why aren't you doing that for yourself?
Yeah. Do you create any kind of strategy or
So my strategy behind like posting on like the feed and things that I want engagement from is based on my business goals. And so, for example, if I have like a special promotion of a mini session coming up, you'll start seeing that content being curated around that goal. So that way, when that thing launches, it's like, she's been talking about this for 3 or 4 weeks. I need this. And it gives them a sense, it gives them a sense of urgency. So I actually plan my content quarterly for my goals. And then we batch like idea what the content's going to be. And then we don't actually create the content till the week before. And I just recently hired
that. Yeah, because then
I feel like we get so overwhelmed because we kind of try to do it at once. Like we'll batch, but we like are planning that week and batching that week and posting. And it's just like, oh my God, like this is so much.
And I think it's like easier to batch the ideas because you can say like, you know, I want to talk about the brand, who's part of the team, like breaking it down, like minute ideas, and then go back and batch it for the week.
It's just so intentional too.
Very intentional. I only spend like 2 or 3 hours a week on content. And I most recently,
hold on. You show up that much and you spend 2 or 3 hours a week.
And what makes it seem more is because I show up on stories all the time.
That is true. I do watch your stories.
Yeah. So like that is like the, you know, the leverage.
It's so funny. You talked about discipline. I feel like we'll even talk about stuff on our episode and then like have to listen to it. It's like, you know what to do.
You just have
like
to do
you
it.
just have to do it.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just create these excuses for yourself and be like, I can't do this or I have this going on or whatever. And we were just talking yesterday about me and Sierra have just been trying to get more organized and delegate certain tasks to each person that we're both good at so that like we can
we show up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it does make it easier. And then when you're so frazzled, it is hard to show up on stories. But I feel like stories is where you can really show your personality and like really be raw because like it's legit in the moment.
Yeah.
And people love that. I love when I'll have new clients and they're talking about my dog or my son or you feel like you know them and you've just created that trust.
And I think too, like the more your business grows and things, you'll have to outsource things. Like you said, delegate. And I most recently hired out like my marketing component because I have these 2 entities. I have a team of photographers that I'm running. I have like a lot of moving parts, not just like behind the scenes. I'm just taking a camera. That's what it looks like from the front, but it's like a lot of moving business parts. And so because I had somewhat of a structure, bringing someone in, it was like, hey, how can we fine tune this for your workflow and make it make sense for us? And like we batch our time together when we're working together. My marketing manager and I, we're like getting shit done. And like after that, I don't have to do marketing for the rest of the week.
I think that's like one of the problems with like being best friends with your business partner is like we're working, but then it's like, wait a minute.
Both of our men call us out all the time. They'll be like, so you went all day and you got how much done? And we're like, no, but we worked the whole time. And they're like, there's no way.
Like, we don't hang out with each other.
Yeah.
Like you see each other every week. It's like, but it's work.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I think it is so important to have those boundaries and even though it's fun, just staying organized and making sure that everything is getting done so that you're intentional about your time because at the end of the day, it is your business. I know you kind of talked a little bit about niching down within your business. We stress so much how ideal client is the most important part of your business. And part of that is niching down. What kind of benefit did you see within your business when you did decide to niche down?
Man, I could talk about niching down so much. And that is because I really didn't understand it until I did it. It's one of those things that are people telling you, you should do it. You should do it. But it was like, but I'm scared.
Yes.
I'm scared that I'm not going to get the money. I'm scared I'm not going to get the clients. But what I learned is you can still do the things that are not within your niche. You just don't advertise it. And so behind the scenes, I still have some corporate clients that I do. I'm doing a newborn session today. I haven't advertised newborn in 6 months, but this is like a loyal client of mine. So I'm going to do it for her. But with niching down, you get known in your area for that thing. So like now, because I've niched down around my photography is around womanhood, you know, boudoir maternity, it's giving that, you know, women experience that people are urging and wanting. And anytime thinking about women portraiture, who's the first person they're going to think about? And that's literally what's happened over the last year and a half. I'm just like, I can't believe like in my area in Jacksonville, like you need boudoir, you have to see Pompey. Like that is like no if, ands, or buts. Prior to my niching down, I was known for a little bit of everything. But because I'm known for that one thing, my inquiries have quadrupled. And it is insane. I'm just like, I can't believe like so many people were looking for the service, but they didn't know who I was until I was able to show that I was an expert in that space.
I don't know how it is in the photography industry, but for hair, I know when I first started, my bosses were telling me, you have to do everything. You have to accept everything. It was like you had to do that. But I noticed the same thing. I'm extension exclusive. So all of my clients were extensions. And I remember being like, there is not enough people in Jacksonville that wear extensions. Like there's no way that can happen. But you become the expert because it's all that you do, and people not only trust you, but you're able to get better at your craft.
Oh yeah.
And I love how you have two separate services that also like tie into each other. You know, they're going to get married, they're going to do a boudoir shoot, and then they're going to get pregnant. And so they're going to do the maternity shoot. I don't know if that was strategic or not, but I'm like...
She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you again, and then I'm gonna get you again." When you make that baby
I just did a shoot like that yesterday. Literally a year ago this month, she did her maternity or her boudoir shoot for her wedding, and we did her maternity photos.
Maybe you're getting girls pregnant out here.
Literally, someone slid in my DMs and was like, "That needs to be like a clause in the contract. Like you may get pregnant after your boudoir session."
You need to post that. That's hilarious.
And you do. We got you, girl.
Right.
Yeah, and honestly, like as much as niching down is scary, I encourage people to try it because it's your business. You make the rules. If it doesn't work, pivot. Like, who is it to say like you can't do this tomorrow and change your mind? It's your business. So your business, your brand, you show up as you, and people that are attracted to you are gonna know like, okay, I support her. Whatever she does, I know it's going to be raw kind of thing.
I noticed the same thing in my business when I niched down to just doing wispy lashes because I was being told like you need to do classic, hybrid, volume, mega, like all the things. And then I was like, I only like doing wispies. Like I do not like these lashes that just like are one length and like it's great for other people. I just didn't personally enjoy it. And I also feel like when you do niche down, there's a benefit to where your passion shines through that. And then it ties back into everything. Like just the way you show up. Is
it's easier.
Genuine.
It's easier. You could be like, happy. Come on here and and like, it just is like natural. And I think another thing with niching down, you know who your client is. Like I could tell you where my client shops, what their income is. Like what's their style. I could tell you all these things about my ideal client because I know those are my people. It's crazy. Like before I was like, I'll do anybody that wants, you know, photography, but that's not the case.
Well, and it's also just like the people that you're attracting are different. They trust you. You're not having them question you because it's like, this is what I offer and this is it. Even within my own business, I literally have 3 different color options. It's not like, oh, you can get highlights and you can get 1 row and maybe you can get shampooed. Maybe you can get blow dry. It's like, no, this is what you're getting if you come here and that's it. You always have people who are trying to like, well, what if I don't? Like, what if I only want 5 photos instead of 10? And it's like, that's fine, but you're paying for it. You're paying for this. Like that's what it is, you know?
And that's actually a great point, which a lot of photographers in my industry, they do like a bundle package. When you pay for my services, it's just like a sitting fee. So I tell people, imagine going like to JCPenney's and you're paying for the photographer's time. Anything that they purchase after that is based off what they love. So I don't include any digitals, any products, anything in my package. It's a flat rate and you're paying for the experience and my service and my time. And it's up to the client. If they want to purchase 2 photos, go for it. If you want to purchase the entire gallery, if you want a wall art and an album, it's 100% depending on what the client wants and needs. And so I don't ever have that, you know, conflict of like, well, I got 5 photos in my package. I don't never have that conversation with my clients.
You're very upfront about
1,000%
everything. And I love that
Those
because
love that.
We're both the same way because it's like they're number one, when you're upfront, you're not wasting anyone's time.
No,
your 100%. Inquiries aren't going to be like, hey, how much is da 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 da. And if it is, you can reference them to your website to see what it is. When that client comes in, it's like, okay, we're not having any weird conversations. We're not having any back and forth. This is what it is. And it really, it releases.
Honestly, I haven't had a bargaining like conversation. I couldn't even tell you last time, maybe 2-3 years.
I don't know why people are weird about, like, I know businesses who like purposely don't put their pricing online. And I'm like, you're literally.
Do you know why? I've talked to people about this.
Because of like competitors?
No. It's not because of competitors. I thought it was because of competitors. They told me that it's because it gets people to inquire with you, which then starts the conversation. And then it gives you a chance to like basically convert them into a paying client. But to be honest with you,
I don't want to convince you to come to me.
So that's how I feel. And I feel like that's how she feels.
Exactly.
I don't have time to sit on this phone with you and be like, so it's this much because I'm not going to go back and forth with you. If you don't want to pay it, that's okay. There are other artists, there are other photographers, there are other people out there providing a service at this price point that you want, but I'm sorry.
Literally how I look at it, if I get you on the phone, that's the seal of the deal.
Yeah, we're done.
Right.
We're already done if I'm talking to you.
98% of my clients that get on the phone with me because they already were looking for the service. But when I tell them like what they're going to get from the experience outside
even more.
of just photos, they're like, oh, and I tell people when people get on the phone, I just want a couple pictures. I tell them straight up, I don't know if I'm the right photographer for you because I am a full experience. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I explain it. And sometimes that's overwhelming for some people. Some people just want a couple things. But if you want a true photography experience that you're going to be like leaving the session feeling like I'm a badass, I'm the woman for you.
Especially with photos that can be so vulnerable, you know, like that's amazing.
Speaking from doing hair and makeup, I've done so much boudoir hair and makeup, and there are girls in the chair that are like losing their shit, sitting in the chair. And the whole time I'm like, girl, it'll be fine. And they're like, I'm going to need a shot. I am so nervous, blah, blah, blah. And I've had people like, and I've been like, no, when you get there, trust me, like it's fine. If your photographer makes you comfortable, it's worth it. Yeah. You know?
And something that I'm really big on is like my team understanding my clients. So every single one of my team members have done a boudoir shoot with me. So when that question comes up in the chair, I'm not even in the room. My makeup artist can relate to her. Why are you feeling that way?
Yeah.
Angelica's going to do X, Y, and Z. Like she really is like, you got it. You're in good hands.
Yeah.
And they reaffirm them. And it's like a sense of relief for clients.
That's so important too, for everyone on your team to be on the same page and be like, the experience starts from the click on the website until they're out of your door getting their photos.
Yeah. Like all the way through the very end, like asking for a Google review is like the least I can ask for them, and they jump on it. I've literally like never experienced that until I like pivoted to being a complete full service photographer, where people are like, tell me, send me the link. Can you text it to me before they leave the studio? I'm like, I'm going to email it to you, boo. Don't worry. Like just check your email by the end of the day. But like having that sense of urgency that they feel like, I just want to tell the world. That's how we want our clients to leave our spaces in our businesses.
Exactly. 100%.
And that's inspiring, and I hope that you're proud of that. To know that,
I'm so proud. I'm like, and I'm proud of my team. That's I think this growing pain for me, actually, having a team that cares as much as I do.
Yeah,
because like
it's hard.
It's so hard. I've hired, I've fired, I've interviewed, I've just walked the boss life in a different aspect. It's different when you're a small business owner versus corporate, where you have other people to lean on. It's me and my business partner making decisions. And
you're creating an intimate experience too. So like even that's harder.
Yeah.
Because it's like you guys have to all be on the same page creating. The last thing you want is one of your team members to make someone feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
You know?
I mean, like my training is so extensive that my associate photographer I hired in February, she's just now doing shoots on her own, and we're 8 months almost in of training. It's crazy, but
quality
people. And now I literally, if something happens to me, I need to walk out or do something, personal. Hey, Kayla, can you jump in and take over the shoot? Absolutely. She'll jump. And I know my clients will be. With having a team, I think the biggest part of this all is, as a business owner, we have everything here. So what happens when we're not present?
Right.
Does your business run when you're not there?
No.
Can somebody jump in and fill your space? Do they know what your operations are like?
No.
So there's this thing called a SOP. I didn't know what this was. SOP is a system of procedures. So in the event something happens to me, this actually happened to a colleague of mine. She got so ill. She was bed rest. She couldn't do anything. She had weddings mapped out. Like she had all these things scheduled, and her husband didn't know how to log into her system. So not only can she not do anything, how can he help her?
Yeah.
How can a colleague of hers help her?
Yeah.
Anybody can say, I can jump in, but where is a photographer going to go?
Right.
What are they doing? So what I've created in my business is a SOP for every role in my business. My administrative person, my financial person, my marketing person, my person that does the blogging, literally step 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through. If Angelica's not here, what happens? And they can go into this document. Right now it's electronic, but once it's done, we will go in from there, and people can literally pick up this document and read it and be in place of me.
Wow. That's amazing. That's very smart too.
And it's something you don't think about as a business owner, because we do all the things, but it's so important, because at any moment in life, something can happen.
Well, that has happened to me, and I still did not create that. That's because right now it's me.
It's black and white too. It's not like, okay, I know I trained this person, but like, are they going to remember or are they going to do it efficiently? It's like black and white, like literally read.
Yeah.
I know, like I went on my first out of the country trip last year for 2 weeks and I was stressed. I don't even have a team and I was stressed the whole time because I'm like, oh my God, like what if something happens? So I
took my first week and a half vacation this year and I left my computer, my camera, everything. And I didn't look at an email. There's one thing that was on fire. But other than that, I don't work in healthcare. No one's going to die.
Yeah.
And honestly, I treat my business like Louis Vuitton or Gucci. Are you going to call Gucci at 10 o'clock at night? Yeah. Hey, can I buy those shoes? No. Yeah. You have to wait till I open my doors at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We don't work in healthcare. We're not saving lives.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Though.
They act like it, but you have to set that boundary at the beginning. My emails, my onboarding. These are my hours.
I am pretty good about that. Like I'm like, my clients will even know. Sometimes they'll text me on the weekend and be like, I know you're not working. I just don't want to forget. Like, you know, text me back Monday, whatever. Yeah. Because I used to be like
in my land.
Yeah. I used to be like at the dinner table, like responding to a message. And my husband's like, are you serious right now? And I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. And that's another thing. My husband is my business partner. So we really, at the very beginning, it was a struggle to, you know, this is personal. This is us time. This is business. And he had to bring me back to reality about a year and a half ago. It's like, Angelica, when we're not at work, we don't have to talk about work.
Yeah.
And I was like, whew, that hit me because I can talk about work and business and it's just my thing. It doesn't seem like work to me, but to others it's work. And I have to remember and I have to respect that boundary, especially if he's my partner. So like when I'm home, it's home time. Angelica tucks away the computer. I have an office now. I leave my shit at work. Like I have to be a wife. I have to be a partner. I have to be me. Because if not, business will consume you.
It's funny you say that because my husband and I were just having this conversation the other day because like obviously me and Sierra are best friends. And before we talked about our own businesses, but now we have a business together. And he's like, you don't like ever talk, like you don't have friends where you're not talking about business or like hobbies that you're doing together where it's not about your business. Like that is so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like you said, like to me, it doesn't feel that way, but like it does still affect you, you know? I mean, I don't think me and Sierra have like ever done anything that did not include at least something about
me and you
work.
About work.
So I challenge y'all to do that at least like 1 hour. It doesn't have to be a full day.
You know I'm down for a trip.
Do something spontaneous.
Literally, we were gonna plan a trip, and then when she was like, "We'll be so productive," I was like, "Okay." Yeah. But like Dante, he was just telling me that I have been basically so busy. He was like, "You literally don't have time for anything but work at all. Like, you have no time for me." He had to beg me to block off. I blocked off the week. We spent time together, and I was like, I forgot what it was like to just like be who I am. Without my business.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I saw this quote and it resonates so much with me. And I was like, this last year has been like a little crazy, just like a lot of moving parts in my business, personal things, travel. And I saw this quote and it said, rest is not an option, it's required.
Ooh.
And I was like, it is a must. Without rest, that's what comes burnout.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have a life. Listen, rest is not a option, it is a requirement. So I'm very big on that. Like boundaries is important. And as a new business owner, you're so hungry just for like anything and everything. But every dollar is not a good dollar.
Yes.
Nope. And I'm like, just think back, was that worth your time and energy? Yep. Like, for example, my husband, he's a videographer and he's like, babe, I got this inquiry for this weekend. And I was just like, you know, we're going to a birthday party. It's themed. We love to dress up and all the things, but we're going to the birthday party. You're going to do that 3 hours before. Is it worth it? Like your energy?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, now that you put it that way, fuck it. No, I'm going to tell him I'm not available. And it's literally that simple. It's a mindset thing though, because so many people are hungry to want to do the next thing. It's like, is it worth your time? Is it worth your energy? And, you know, sometimes you have to protect your energy because it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I know. I really struggle because I convince myself that I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my son. And while I am, I find those moments where like, even last night I was up really late working on stuff and my son is like, can I sit in your lap? And I caught myself at first being like, no, like mommy's trying to do something. And then I like just had to snap myself back into reality and be like, what is wrong with you? Like your kid is only going to be young for so long. Literally. Like these moments are so precious.
The thing is like we are working solo. So who's going to check you? Nobody but you. And you have to be vulnerable enough and know that, whoa, I'm not doing something right. I need to do something about it. No one else can do it for you.
Yeah. I think it's like, it's one of those things too, where I think we all have seasons of busyness and seasons of like boundaries, you know, where I feel like I go through these times where I'm really, really good about setting boundaries and I took off the weekend so I could be home. But then it's like going through this new season of kind of restructuring the business and adding on the podcast. And it's just this season of trying to figure out the flow for that because it's totally different, you know, and then figuring out what works, what doesn't work. And it's so hard, you know, and I feel like a lot of people don't share
see us from the outside and they think it's all so easy. And they're like, everything is perfect. Your life is amazing. It's in all of our industries, everything looks so glamorous and fun all the time, but it's like, literally, it can stop being that way from the back end because we're just trying to keep up all the time.
And I think one of the things too, like when people show up on social media, they're just like, they show the pretty glitz and glam. And that's why I show up like how I show up. I'll show up from eyeliner the night before. Mama didn't wash her face. Mama was tired. It's fine. And it's so crazy when I meet people out in the public, they're like, you're just like you are in person. I'm like, why not? That's fucking weird. Why would I put on a front on a platform to just act like something I'm not? It's going to be harder. Yeah, it's going to be harder for you to show up. So it's like, why do all that? Just show up as your authentic self. Your people are your people and they're going to come.
Yeah, that's so important.
So I feel like you're on a roll right now.
Yeah, tell me more.
No, I want you to tell me more. Yeah. So if you had advice right now for younger you, or other business owners or anything like that, what would you say?
Younger me. Oh man, I would say invest in your education. And I say that because in 2019, my husband and I were at a destination wedding and it was the day after the wedding. We were sitting at breakfast and I've done everything so much DIY. It was like, why do I need to invest? And I'm the type of person, if I'm going to put my money somewhere, I better know I'm going to get every dollar and some back because this is hard work, you know, behind the scenes and doing everything. That dollar was earned and is sweat, blood, and tears behind it. And so I was at the breakfast table with my husband and I was like, you know, there's this guy I've been stalking and like, that's one thing about me. I'm going to research, I'm going to watch, I'm going to listen to everything that you put out into the...
a little bit?
Child, look, it's giving investor gadget around here. But I'm like...
She's an investor gadget.
I'm just like, you know, at this point, like as I was thinking, I was like, why am I holding back? And my husband's like, he's asking me and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just scared to spend the money. He's like, Angelica, you're going to get the money back if you think it's that like valuable.
Yeah.
I spent the money. It was a course of $1,800. I've never in my life spent that much money at that time for anything education. I was like, I'm going to do it. I bought the course and then 3 days later, I made my money back and some by implementing only like a handful of strategies.
3 days?
But I was just about to say to you, it's not just buying the course, it's implementing it. And this is coming from personal experience of like being very passionate about investing into my business. And then
she doesn't do it.
And honestly, that's most people. And because I think it was my first investment, I was like, I can't mess with this.
Yeah.
That $1,800, I felt like I spent my savings, to be completely honest. I was just like, my stomach, I felt a knot in I've never felt that way. That's one of the top 5 feelings I've ever felt in my life.
Wow.
And I was like, $1,800 at that time was like spending my savings.
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, if you're spending this kind of money, you better be freaking committed.
Yeah.
You better show up for you because no one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I had to kick it in high gear. So we flew out like that Monday morning. from the time I bought the course, I was laying by the pool, listening to the videos and all the things, and flight, I had a wedding consultation that Tuesday night, and I booked my highest package ever. It was like,
that's amazing,
$5,700. I'm like, I've never in my life charged that for a wedding. I was just like, and the clients didn't even bat an eye. They're like, can we add this? Can we add this? I was like, well, shit, I don't have a price yet. Let's do it. Like, I'll get back to you, but
we'll be good.
Yeah, like everything is fine. And I'm just like, literally from just implementing what I learned.
That's awesome.
And taking a step of faith that like this was worth it. Yeah.
Is this when you went to Paris?
No, this was when I was in Cancun. Yeah, I went to Paris. That was my last wedding of my career.
I know. I feel like that was the last one I saw you do.
That was my last wedding.
I was like,
ever.
she went out with a bang.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's it.
Her and hubby were out there at the Eiffel Tower. I was like, okay, girl, get it.
Education is key. And I tell my students and people that I talk to, like, study the people. Make sure, because there's a lot of educators out here that are teaching, but it's like, oh, you're putting a front on. I show the receipts. You can ask my students. I'll pull up my CRM. I'm going to show you the numbers. Yeah. I'm real shit. I'm as real as it's going to get. Like, you get what you see.
There's a lot of frauds out there.
Absolutely.
And I've been victimized.
Yeah. And it sucks because when you experience that, it's like, when do I spend that money and invest again?
Yeah.
You're like, it puts a bad taste in your mouth, and then you're scared. Because imagine if this same person had that feeling that you had, and then they didn't get the return.
Oh, I know.
They're never going to invest again.
But you know what? Like, to be honest with you, like that, because my like kind of business structure shift is going into education, and that was honestly my inspiration. I'm like, all of these classes that I've taken that give no value, but I look at like, you know, you give value in your business as a photographer. So of course you're going to want to give value in your, you know, business as an educator. Absolutely. You know, it's the same thing. It's like, there's a difference between just being money hungry and having a passion for it. Like, yes, we all want to make good money, but if you don't have that passion and that care for people in there as well, you're not going to give quality, whatever that is.
Yeah. And I think the most impactful educators that I've interacted with that are super freaking successful, they're all about the community. It's not about the money, because the money's going to come. But when you invest in your community and show up for your people and like just love on your people, man, people will throw dollars at you like it's a strip club. It's crazy.
No, it's so true.
But you know what I'm saying?
When you have that, are you personally like coaching your
So I coach my students, and even when I'm on stories, for example, I'll see them. Like, I had a student, she was saying she was struggling with social media, and like if I could give her some pointers. She's not paying me for a service right at this very moment. She's a past student, but I'm still going to give her, like, I'm not going to hold back. I'm not that type of person like that. I'm not going to tell you anything. I want you to grow. And I want you to know that what I tell you is going to work. She posted a post yesterday, and I read her caption. She implemented every single tip I gave her. That's awesome. And I sent her a DM, a voice message, and I said, I'm so proud of you. Look at you implementing. And she's like, puts crying face.
That's amazing.
So it's like, as outside of just, you know, being a paid student, like showing your community, showing you care. Like, I'm always sliding in the DMs.
What goes around comes around.
Literally. And like, even though I have a marketing manager, that's one aspect of my business I'm not letting go.
I think that's important.
I love that. That's my jam. And I'm always like, these are my people. I like, that's the only way I can stay connected with the community and the internet.
It's actually funny you say that. I have a client that works for a really big like marketing firm, and they were working with an influencer who actually lost a crap ton of followers and like engagement when they found out that this firm was like the one like replying to the DMs, and like just realizing that it wasn't as authentic as, you know, they assumed that it was. You know, there are certain things obviously with social media that you can source out and have other people do. You know, if you're telling them like, this is what I want my post to be, it's still your vision, and your voice. But they're the ones physically putting it together.
1000%.
But
and that's what I learned in my education side of the business. So my photography, I'm still an active photographer, which is very rare in my space. Photographers become educators and they no longer shoot. I don't want that for me. I thrive off that creativity, and I just want to continue to serve my community. And this education piece is like, I like to call it a passion project, something that I could see it become something bigger, but everything for that side of the business, I've outsourced. I'm just showing up. I outsource my education deck, my courses creation, like everything that you see going on in that side of the business has been outsourced. And I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to do that, because that gives me space to have not only personal time, but separate the two businesses. And I can say, okay, this needs to happen for APE, Angelica Pompy Education, or this needs to happen for Pompey Portraits. It gives me a sense of like relief, and like the business can continue to run and grow.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you for joining us today. We really enjoyed all of your insights. I know I can't wait to take what you've shared with us and implement it in our business with Blended and business with like my hair extensions.
Love it.
Yeah, I honestly got a lot out of this conversation.
Good. Yay. Well, thank you ladies for having me. And I hope you take something from this conversation. I know there's like a couple gems, but I challenge you to walk away and do some action in your business. Take one thing and send me a DM. You can find me on Instagram at Angelica Pompy. Slide in my DMs and tell me, hey, Angelica, I heard this on the podcast. I would love to hear that back from you guys.
Yeah.
That's
and don't worry if you miss any of that. As always, we'll put it in our show notes. Don't forget to follow us as well at Blended_podcast and leave a review wherever you're listening. Bye.
Bye, BBs.
Thanks for being our Blended babes,
AKA BBs. Join the conversation and let your voice be heard.
If you're ready for a revolution, don't forget to leave us a review wherever you're listening, and follow the journey on Instagram at blended_podcast.
Share this episode with your BB who is ready to beautify the beauty industry and rewrite the standards.
Get all the tea from this episode and more in the show notes.
Bye.